Well, we can't ask me like specific questions.
I can ask you about before.
We are now live, for what it's worth.
Okay. I can ask you before though. Like the very beginning.
From previous seasons, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll work. Welcome to the Sippi Girls podcast. Sippi Girls is about the adventures of outdoor sorority sisters.
Encouraging women in Mississippi to push their limits.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Sippi Girls. We have myself, Ivana Williams, and Ashley Jones. Ashley Deadeye Jones, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, y'all. Ashley Deadeye Jones from History Channel Swamp People. All my fans that are watching, I know y'all miss me. About to get back out there.
Yeah. So this is our first episode ever, and we've actually started Sippi Girls about a year ago, so this is our first time to be actually on our own podcast instead of being guests on other people's podcasts, which is exciting for both me and Ashley. I know I'm a little nervous. What about you?
You know, you'd think I'd be more nervous to go out and hunt gators, but I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, I've been trying to think about what we were going to talk about all week, and I know me and you have talked about it, and we were going to talk about how Sippi Girls began and all that. But I was just going to ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think that the nervousness is just the excitement.
Exactly. So last year, whenever we began Sippi Girls, so we're just going to get right into it. What was your thoughts whenever I came up to you and said, "Hey, this would make a great show"? What do you think about starting it?
Well, when you came to me with the idea, I thought it was a great idea. But then it really got me to thinking, there should be something like that, and there really should be. But then after realizing that there isn't, just this past year's been amazing. I've met some really incredible girls that, I love listening to their story. And, I mean, we've got some incredible women.
Yeah. And we just opened membership for it. So now you can actually become a Sippi Girls member. And you can, if you want to go to our website, sippigirls.org, and you can join, become a member, and be a part of this group. But, yeah, just like you said, the people that are now in this group, I was lucky enough to go to dinner with them, a few of the girls. And after the extravaganza, which we'll talk about that in just a second. But I was just asking them about their stories of, why did they want to join this group? And everybody has a different, purpose, right? And everybody had a different response and reason why they want to join. But the primary focus was that they wanted to be a part of something more than just themselves going outdoors. They wanted to give back and then also, be a part of something with a bunch of other women that think the same way they do. So, I don't know how it is for you.
Well, people see me on the show and forget that I'm a regular person. So when I get to be at the extravaganza and places like that, and I get to share with other moms the same frustrations that they live on an everyday basis too, it's like we have a lot in common.
Right. Yeah, and speaking of the extravaganza, so that was this past weekend, and we were both, I and Ashley were fortunate enough to have a little booth, and in the celebrity section, I don't feel like I'm up to Ashley's celebrity status, but we were at least, lucky enough to have a booth by her. And Dan Robinson, we were thinking about having him on the show, and he unfortunately lost his voice after the 3 days. So we'll have him on the show maybe in a few weeks whenever he recovers from his all that talking he had to do this past weekend. But so another thing we were talking about with the show is, again, it goes back to that outline, right? That I was telling you about what I was wanting to talk about. Do you remember me saying, calling you up? So I had called Ashley up and talked about, I'm trying to be as professional as possible because I don't know much about podcasts. This is our first time. And I was trying to think of what my outline was going to be for this week. Well, while we were discussing some of that stuff, a little, I guess, adversity was thrown at myself. And at first I was a little upset. I was kind of like, I just announced that we were going to have a podcast, and all of a sudden this adversity comes my way, and it was like, why now of any day? And I started realizing, well, why am I mad? And I guess it's just human nature to be mad when something doesn't go your way. However, I took that as a lesson learned, right? So,
Well, let's back up.
Go ahead.
Let's for everybody listening that doesn't really know, it's just a bump in the road, or
Right. Yeah, no, it's not really even a bump in the road. It's just something that was kind of threw me off guard.
Well, probably it was meant to be a dead end
Yes,
sign.
exactly. And Ashley and I know what caused it. And we're not going to discuss that because that person, I feel like that person wants that publicity behind them, and we're just not going to give it to them. But that was supposed to be a stopping point. Let me mess with these girls. Let me stop what they're doing. And yeah, I was mad at first, but I realized, I shouldn't be mad. I shouldn't even focus on that issue, because if I take my mind and my goals off that, or onto that issue and off my goals, well, then I'm losing sight of what is meant to be. So by not focusing on the bad in life, and this goes back to just lesson learned, life lesson, right? So instead of focusing on the bad of life, if you think of the good and all the things that we are here to accomplish and what we plan to accomplish with Sippi Girls and just in general in our life, well, then we can strive on. We can continue trucking along, right? So that's something that kind of hit home with me, and it was like God was just saying, talk about this week. I don't know who's listening or who needs to hear it, if anybody, but
Everybody needs to hear it, that everything that's thrown at you negatively, or you feel like it at that time. For instance, just to get completely off subject here, I interviewed for a spot on one of the Mississippi Blood public broadcasting stations. I won't say the name, but I was super excited to be a female co-host on the show for the first time in a really long time. And I don't think that still haven't filled that position yet, but just, I was really excited to do it. And I really had my hopes up. And when they didn't offer me that position, I was really let down. But if I would have been offered that position when they came to me about doing Swamp People, I would have been under a contract and I would have never been able to do it.
right.
And just the opportunities that I've had since being able to do that, and just the amount of confidence that gave me to be able to do something and take it as far as I did, and
Right.
when I get to talk to people like you, like, if I would have used that as a just dead end road and not ever pursued what I wanted to do, I wouldn't be sitting right here being able to say I've done one of the coolest things in the world. And I don't mean that boastfully,
No,
I really did.
I think a lot of people think that. I mean, you're a female out there wrestling alligators. I mean, who can say that? So it is accomplishment. And I know that you don't go out and brag about it by any means, because just like when we were at Mistletoe, right? How I wanted to go around telling people like, oh, this is my friend Ashley. She's on Swamp People, and brag about you. And you're like, oh no, it's nothing. And then you were doing the same for me.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm like so proud of you.
And I was like, no, I'm nothing. Don't worry about me. So it's just funny how we really like hit it off. And the first time we met, whenever we met, we were at the snake grabbing rodeo at Lake Washington, and I was actually escorting Cy Robertson from Duck Dynasty to that rodeo, and it was for a fundraiser. And then here comes Ashley walking in to the cabin that we were at, and all of a sudden, like, I look at Ashley, and we both stopped, and both probably at the same time was like, do I know you from somewhere?
Yeah.
It was weird. I've never met her before, never watched the show before. I didn't know who she was. And it was this weird connection, like we were automatically best friends.
It was like when I looked at you, it was like we had stopped a conversation and needed to pick it back up, and we didn't know where we left off.
Right. That's perfect.
You know,
So yeah, I mean, just like that, you never know what's going to come in your life, and you don't know what God has for your life. So in my opinion, I just kind of go with the flow, which I feel like that's God's leading me in the right direction. And
it's
even
like little things where God's winking at us. Like, you're
right,
doing good, girl.
right, I like that. And not everybody, even if you're not spiritual or you don't believe in God, I still think, I mean, me personally, I do, but if you don't, I mean, even just thinking about everything happens for a reason. So just think of the positive. What I was trying to get at is just think of the positive things in life and don't worry about the negative, because the negative is just there to slow you down.
That's right.
So, but yeah, that's one of those things I want to talk about. And then the extravaganza. So how did you like the extravaganza this year?
I love that event every year. It's like the snake grabbing rodeo. It's like you see all these people you hadn't seen since the year before, and just seeing all the businesses grow, from last year. That's exciting.
Yeah, and there was people from Louisiana, and I think one person from like Missouri, and I got his card, and hopefully the Sippi Girls can do a show with him, maybe go out in Missouri, go hunt.
Well, there was a lot of girls just from all over, not just in Mississippi, that were interested in what we're doing and want to be a part of the group. Just even if it's as simple as a newsletter, a way to connect with each other. These girls want to be involved too, and it's not too late for anybody to be involved. We're constantly looking for people that, are like-minded, any sponsors that want to be involved with it. And, a lot of the Mississippi companies that are being supportive, it's really a way for them to get out there while it's early, because this is such a huge organization. That's why I get so flustered when I talk about it, because I'm so excited.
Right.
After talking to the girls just over the weekend that come in there, I mean, we're teaching these little girls that they can live their dreams.
Right. And, they see you and they look up to you. And, everybody, all these little girls were wanting to go take pictures. And, even one of the girls on Sippi Girls, the ladies. And when I say girls, everybody, us women.
Women, yeah.
Like to also think we're young at heart, so we just call each other girls. So even the women that are a part of the organization now, they were like, one of them was saying, she joined because she saw what you did, and she kind of wanted to be a part of something that is a little bit more than just her going out and hunt. And her little girl, her 7-year-old girl, is sweet as can be. And I met both of them at a little meet and greet event at a camp in Flowood. And the little girl, talked to me a little bit the first time, but then when we went to extravaganza, she just came up and gave me a big hug and made me feel, good, like I was a part of a family. And so growing up, I never had girlfriends. I never had anybody really to hang around other than two of the girls all through junior high school, and we're still friends today. But majority of the time, I was just around the boys. I was a tomboy. I liked playing sports. I never actually went hunting or fishing until I got later on in life. But I'm trying to make up for that now.
That's how I was. Yeah. I didn't start hunting until I was 25. Mm-hmm. So it's like we're real mad at everything now.
So what is the most favorite hunt you had so far?
Oh, my goodness. That's so hard, because each of them means something so different. But my favorite hunt is the hunt with my dad, the picture that actually got me on the show.
Yeah.
We were down in the Jordan River. We had South Central tags. And normally you don't get a very big gator in that area. We had hunted for like 4 straight nights. In Mississippi, you're hunting from can to can.
Right.
And when you only have a 10-day window, you get out there as much as you can. And thankfully, me and my dad were able to go for about 4 nights at this point. We were ready to get whatever we could get. And we ended up hooking into a monster gator. We actually had tried getting this gator off of the hook, because once you hook into it, the gator doesn't know that it's hooked. So you'll have a rod and reel, and you'll basically just drop down a treble bait that has 3 hooks weighted together, and you'll want to just drag the bottom and hopefully catch the underbelly where there's enough to be able to get it to snag. And we had done that, and the gator didn't know he was hooked yet, so he just starts walking along the bottom of the river, and the boat's moving, and we're like, oh my gosh, we got a gator on. He's just moving the whole bottom. You can just tell he's just cruising. He's not trying to move fast. And when we got another hook into that gator, he just took us for an absolute ride. He was rolling all the way up into the boat. And when on the show, we have one hand line that we're holding on to because that gator's caught in the stomach.
Right.
Mississippi and Louisiana are 2 completely different ways of doing it. And in Mississippi, it's much more of a sport. They are just full of energy. I mean, they're fighting for their life. They're wanting to get cut off anywhere that they
Right.
can. That's why the bigger ones and the older ones are harder to get here. And it was just an incredible experience. It got to be with my dad, who passed away 2.5 years ago. So it's just a hunt I wouldn't take $1 million for. And then I took a picture with the gator, and I was laying across the back of it. And I know that there's a lot of controversy with trophy hunters and them taking pictures with something that they've hunted, but I wanted to show how big that gator was, to truly respect how big this animal is. He deserves to be respected. He lived a long life, and each animal is essential to our habitat, and they deserve to be respected. And that picture is what got me on the show.
All right. Well, you see, now that was the first time I've ever heard about that actual hunt. Now, you've told me about how you got on the show. Can you go into that or no?
Well, I can. Ronnie and he does elite hog hunting down in South Louisiana at the time, and he was doing some hog hunts and out of his airboat, and that's an experience if you haven't done it. And me and my husband went down there, and we went hunting with him, and there were some hogs running across the marsh, and down there it was in February, so you could see straight across there for just forever. The marsh had already died, so in February you can see for way further, especially really tall up there in the airboat. So we could see for about 250 yards away. There was this big pack of hogs running through there, and Ronnie was like, hang on, wait, I can get you closer. And I was like, just stop here, I'll just shoot them. He's like, wait, they're running anyways. And so we ended up shooting all of them, got up there to them, and Ronnie was just completely shocked. He's like, I don't know whether to be.
Wait, so you were like traveling on the airboat and shooting at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So you were like Navy
and
SEAling
the hogs
it.
were moving.
You were the Navy SEALs.
I was literally calculating how far in front of the
that's
hog I needed to shoot. I was shocked myself when I got there, and they were all down.
Okay. So where did that lead to?
Well, the producers are down there a lot of times during the gator season. So that next gator season, Ronnie was helping with the filming, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that makes a gator season possible, as you know. So Ronnie was talking to one of the producers and was like, man, you really need to check this girl out. She can shoot. I've witnessed it for myself, and they're looking for a female to be on the show. And I went down there and talked with the producers, and they're like, yeah, you got an interesting story. Let's follow you around.
So you had to interview with them? Is that right?
Well, I just went down there. There is an application process. They don't want to, History Channel wants to make sure that, you haven't done anything you're not proud of. But other than that, it was an application process, and it's really weird how it works out. And it goes back to you saying that, whether or not you're a spiritual person or not, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
And that hunt happened for a reason, and it led to me meeting Ronnie, which led to them getting the picture and me being on the show.
Yeah. And then here we are, now starting our own future show, be Sippi Girls. So pretty excited about that. Fingers crossed everything works out. And but no, if we get on to do something like that, you'll be a part of it.
Absolutely.
And some of the other women on the group will be a part of it. And that's something that is a perk of being a Sippi Girls member, is just that if you have a business and you want it aired on this podcast or you want it promoted on the TV show, we're going to help you out. You know, if you want us to wear your T-shirt or your hat, whatever it might be, just to collaborate amongst women, it's not only to have young girls go out and hunt, and we teach them about conservation and other, you know, issues that might concern the environment. It's also about women helping women, you know, not only just with a social organization of us getting together instead of, okay, where do they have to go? If they only like to hunt and fish, it's not like every day you find another female that wants to hunt and fish with you. So you're left to go to the deer camp with a bunch of men. And, you know, out of respect for your husband, your boyfriend, it's not like you want, or he feels comfortable enough for you to go out and just hang out with a bunch of men. So this is giving them that opportunity to hang out with women to go do the things they like to do. But it's not even about just that. You know, eventually Sippi Girls wants to be able to pay these women to go out and be ambassadors or have those leadership roles. And, you know, for me anyway, I was in and out of law enforcement and, you know, having babies, you know, going home to the house after getting pregnant and being able to stay home with them for a little bit. But while I was staying home, you know, my, well, he's ex-husband now. But at the time, you know, being on one law enforcement officer's salary, it's pretty tough. So for me, I didn't have an opportunity to be able to take care of my kids and be able to make a living. So it was one or the other. It was, you know, you go to work and hope you have enough money to have babysitters or daycare.
Yeah.
Or you just kind of lived off that one household income. And I've always been very ambitious, and I didn't want to live off that one household income. You know, I wanted more with my life and for my family. And so I want to be able to give these women that opportunity to be able to have their kids and go do something that can make them a living. I don't know how you feel about that, because we haven't really got to talk a whole lot. I know.
Well, no, I'm just sitting here thinking because I really wouldn't be able to do anything that I do as far as hunting extracurricularly, you know, without my mom. I mean, I really do have a great support system. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to just up and go gator hunting. I mean,
Right.
You're in the middle of the night, and a lot of women don't have a support system that they can trust with their children. And that's something that, you know, puts the outdoors on hold for a little bit.
Yeah. And your mom is the sweetest lady, I will say. And she tries to give back just as much as you do. And with the shower power. And what is that, once a week? Every
That's
Saturday?
on Fridays.
Every Friday?
Yeah.
So we actually plan on going out there. And I know you've been out there a few times to help her out, but she does. You go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, it's a great organization. They have a truck set outside of a building in downtown Jackson, and it's a huge homeless population there. And, you know, it just goes to show the power of a shower. And they have a truck there where these people can come get a shower. There's sometimes people there set up to cut hair. They can get a haircut, and they get a free set of clothes, clean set of clothes. So that's been something that my mom has really leaned into since my dad passed away. She's really a caregiver at heart. So she.
Well, I know I have another volunteer for her, because me and my mother were talking about last night, and we were talking about you and your mom and stuff. She's like, oh, I want to get involved. I used to do the Red Cross. I was like, okay, well, I got you somewhere to go. And so she's excited. She wants to help out. And she's 67. She really just wants to get more involved. And, you know, she's retired from being a mama. So now she wants to be able to do more community service projects. And
We could get a group together of all of our great moms
yeah.
to, you know, help with new moms
Mm-hmm.
to get out, you know.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, so there was a girl last night, and I know we're both of us seem a little stiff, because I know Ashley, you usually are
Yeah, I'm
a lot more relaxed.
Oh, good grief.
So eventually this podcast is supposed to be more of the raw, unedited version of who we are every day. And for a lot of you viewers, you see Ashley on the show, which I still have yet to watch all of the show. But
That's a shame.
but I get to see you every day, so that's it makes up for it. But yeah, it's just it's fun to get out, and we plan on doing more raw footage of things. So we actually wanted to do an ice plunge. We're gonna do a one episode. I don't know when. I told the producer over here that we'll have to wait until I get sore. I've been working out a little bit more and running, and then that way that ice bath will feel good. But he's convinced us that we need to do an ice bath, so that's going to be one of the episodes. And I know he's excited. He's over here smiling like, yeah, I'm going to get them in the – it's going to be cold, but it's going to be fun. So we'll do that, and we'll just talk about, the show, whatever we can talk about with Swamp People in the future. If you have any questions, that's something that you can send either one of us on our Facebook page. Do you have an email? Do you want people to send it to?
Basically, just on my social media, there's a message option on there.
Okay. And if you have questions about Ashley or Sippi Girls, you can go to sippygirls.info@gmail.com, and you can send us whatever message you want. Go to sippygirls.org, and there's a way to contact us there if you have any questions, or you want to be a sponsor, or you want us to come out and talk to your organization, whatever it might be. But as this episodes go on, it's going to really talk about what we deal with every day, being moms, for me, being in law enforcement, what it's like. I've been in law enforcement for off and on past 11 years, 12 years. And with the agency I'm with now, I've been with them for the past 5 years, like full time. So I have 4 kids at home, which I don't talk about a whole lot, and I kind of keep my personal life to myself. A lot of people don't see that being on social media.
You do. I'm looking forward to people getting to know you.
Yeah. So I'm surprisingly very shy. A lot of people don't expect that either. But I want this to be that unedited version of who we are. And, if any mother or father or anybody wants to call in, talk about their kids or, some issues that they're dealing with, we'd be happy to help. I'm no counselor by any means, but I might call my sister up. She's finishing up her master's to be a psychiatrist. So I might try to get her advice maybe. But I'm excited to see where this goes. And what about you?
You kind of put me on the spot. I'm so multi-track minded. It's hard to sit still.
Mm-hmm.
Like normally when I have a camera up or, I know that we're recording audio, I'm very busy, pulling in an alligator or shooting one. So it's different just sitting and talking.
Yeah. So we'll get more comfortable as the episodes go on, I think. But I don't know. I'm excited to see where this goes. One of the ladies last night, I was up to, I don't know, it might have been like 11, 12 o'clock at night. I can't remember. But I was answering messages. So if you contact us on Sippi Girls, the Facebook page, well, then I'm most of the time answering it. And I don't sleep. It doesn't seem like anyway. So a lady from North Mississippi was asking, a little bit more about Sippi Girls. And I told her we had our first podcast today, and I was like, just go ahead and, follow us and go listen to the podcast, and we'll explain what we have in the future of what we plan on doing. And she is from, like I said, North Mississippi, so she's wanting kind of like a chapter up there. And I told her, I was like, I hope to eventually have this across Mississippi. And, if any other state wants to start something like this in their state, like I already got a good name for Alabama. It'd be Bama Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they want to ever start anything like this, I'll be more than happy to help them start up their organization. Because it's not about trying to keep everything here in Mississippi. It's about helping women across the nation and, young girls get outdoors and
Yeah.
just have that community aspect. I mean, you have the Jackson League Auxiliary. Is that how you say it? The women's auxiliary team. I don't know how to actually say it, but they do a lot of charity events. They do the mistletoe, and I love going there. We were there last year together.
That is fun.
You get to dress up. So Ashley goes from wrestling gaiters to being in a ball gown.
Well, you too.
Yeah. But no, it's super fun. You get to go shop and, meet people that you've never met or just see people that you haven't seen in a while. But I want to do something like that with Sippi Girls. So we just came up with one of our events. We're going to have an event in December. It's going to be called Santa Soiree. You like that name?
Yeah.
So we have a lady from Vicksburg. She's going to head it up, Melissa Reeves. And she's already hard at work at it. And this will be our first event. So basically what I wanted it to be like is, you have those Ducks Unlimited.
Yeah.
And
banquets.
yeah, the banquets. And, they're all the same. And for the most part, most men put it on. Nothing against you men. But us women seem to have a little bit more.
Funny story about the banquets.
Okay.
I won a Remington 870 12-gauge shotgun at a National Wild Turkey banquet. It was the last gun to win.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, what on earth am I going to do with a 12-gauge shotgun? This old bush beater, you know. And I went out there and taught myself how to turkey hunt with that gun.
Did you get one?
And I got one.
That's that first year?
Yeah, it took me 50 hunts.
50?
But I was bound and determined that nobody else was going to call my turkey in but me.
We just got a text from Mandy. She said, we're doing a great job. I just had to throw that out there.
Okay, good.
I was worried.
Yeah.
Go ahead with your story.
Well, I went out there and I just couldn't get a turkey in close enough. And finally, one morning, a turkey gobbled to my truck door shutting.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, 3 of them came in from all different directions. I didn't know which way to even go, I shot him, and he just went ruffling all around on the ground. And I ran across the field. I remember being so excited. I threw my fist up in the air like, yes.
Like that movie?
Yeah. I know that sounds so corny, but that brings me back to the fun things that the banquets can
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have maybe a story one day. A little girl come up on our podcast and say, I was at one of your banquets and I won that gun.
I taught myself how to turkey hunt. A dream come true.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're trying to do a banquet. We're just doing it a little bit more feminine. So it will end up being more like a real event that people want to go to. Because here in Mississippi, you have a lot of rural areas and, you don't really get to go to major events. I mean, we have a little bit here in Jackson, but if you start going out to the Delta, it's, scarce on what you get to go to. So we're going to try to bring those to different areas of the state and just make it more of dress up, who gets to dress up all the time, So you get to dress up and really participate. You'll have a band there and, we'll still do the typical live auction, silent auction, sponsor a table, get a table, but it'll just be, there'll be tablecloths on the tables and, some candles around.
Well, we have to know which fork is which.
No, we're not going to go that fancy.
Just checking.
Yeah, I don't even know how to do that. I just use the same fork. And then
We
I put
should
it on
do we should have an etiquette class.
Oh, I do know. That brings me to brought something to mind. So if you turn your fork around, I don't know if you know this or not, but if you turn your fork around, that's supposed to show the server that you're done with that plate. My aunt taught me that I don't know, 20 years ago. I don't know if it's true or not. I've never read
Turn
up
it
on
over?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
on your plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to show them that
You're done.
you're done.
Take it.
Yeah. Instead of throwing your napkin and all that into the plate,
Into
So
your,
that's about the only thing I know of etiquette. But I do know that.
is
So-
that the grammatically?
Oh, okay. Also, supposedly, you are only supposed to, if you're eating a steak, a fillet, you know how sometimes, like us being mothers, we're going to cut up our steak, or at least for our kids, a whole lot of pieces, right? Well, if we're eating, we're only supposed to cut up one piece at a time. Whatever you are going to eat, you're only supposed to cut up one at a time. That's supposed to be some kind of etiquette thing.
I think it's because it makes you take time in between each bite. Whereas, like, so you don't just go to shoveling food.
Well, how I was taught in academy I went to, you gotta learn how
You
to
only
eat
got
quick.
a
Yeah,
little bit of time.
I never was good at it though. I went through whenever I had braces, and they got on me. I was in trouble a lot for not being able to eat quick enough.
You had braces while you were in the academy?
Yeah, I did, and it was horrible because like I still pick my food apart like a little bird. Somebody's told me I eat like a bird, but in the academy you got to eat really quick because they're on a limited time frame, and
That's probably why you're not overweight, though.
I mean, everybody could lose a little bit, but with this new position with my job, I have to start working out again. They asked me whenever they're like, "Hey, would you like this position?" I was like, "Absolutely." And then they said, "Well, have you been working out?" I said, "No, but it sounds like I'm about to," which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I've
Some accountability.
yes, and I mean, it's healthy.
I feel good.
Not running in 100 degrees, but it does feel good. It makes you sleep really well at night. So normally I can't sleep, and I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I'm getting these texts, and Mako, and I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Mako. I never knew how to say his name correctly, and but he's texting, and I hope I'm making other people laugh too. So anyway, I got in trouble a lot for that, but working out now, and I'm excited to see how much I actually can do push-ups. It's been a while. It's been 5 years since I've went to the academy. So it's not been 5 years since I worked out. You don't have to look at me like that.
No, I know. I'm just checking. So are you going to be going gator hunting this year?
Yeah. Well, I hope so. Emma got that tag. Yeah, so if she has the tag, I don't know if I can go because I might be working. And there's, a limited amount of space on that boat. But Emma Powell, she got that tag, and we're actually looking for a young girl to go out hunting with us. So we put it on Sippi Girls page, and now that we have a podcast, we can put it on here. Yeah. So any girl that is under 18 that wants to go gator hunting here in Mississippi is welcome to apply. And the only thing you have to do to apply is just go to sippygirls.info@gmail.com. Put your name, your age, your phone number, and why you want to go gator hunting. And we're going to draw the name probably the middle of August because I think the hunt is September, right?
Well, I'm not sure what date that she had picked out. I know that y'all have anywhere from August the 24th to the 4th of August. 4th of September.
Okay. Well, we're going to find that out, but probably like the first week, maybe the second week of August, we will draw a name so that way it gives them time to like prepare to come down to the Jackson area. It won't be in Jackson, but Madison County area, so they can come out and hunt.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be exciting. And we'll, that's one of those things that we'll have on the show, TV show. Is really, so we haven't really even talked about the TV show. So we're trying to get everything going, and we plan on being on the Pursuit channel. And we will be basically anything that comes our way is kind of what we'll showcase. It'd be another raw version of our lives and what we're doing with Sippi Girls and the banquets and anything we can to try to compete with each other. Like I was thinking ATV park. We both go out there in our, ATVs and see who can beat each other through the trails. I don't know. That sounds pretty exciting.
We need to do some shooting soon.
Yeah.
I got to get ready for gator season, and I've got a Benelli 30-06. The safety won't go on it. Like I don't know if it got banged around, but Benelli has that special gas mechanism that helps with the recoil. And I don't know if it has something to do with that, but I'm scared to break it down any. I need to bring it by your shop.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't do it, but
Yeah.
I have a gunsmith at the shop. So what she's talking about, because again, we're so familiar with each other. This is new to us. So we're trying to remember some of the stuff that you guys don't know about us. So,
That's true.
so I have a armory. It's called Ivana Williams Armory. And you can look it up on Facebook or you can look it up on Google if you're here in Jackson area, and it will take you right there. It's in Pearl, and I do gunsmith work. We do Cerakoting, gun coat, which is actually an application process you put on the gun. So it's a fancy word for saying we paint it.
And that'll help with rust and
Right.
just wear and tear.
A lot of people bring their guns in, grandfather's guns that are pitted out. It's going to continue to rust if they don't get it fixed. So they bring it in and we break it apart, break it down, and sandblast it. Spray it with if they want gun coat or they want Cerakote, and then we bake it, put it back together, and it looks just like new whenever we get it done. I mean, if it's really bad pitted, and for the ones who don't know what pitting is, it's whenever your gun rusts and it starts causing pits because it's rusting so bad. So you're not going to be able to get rid of that pitting, but you will at least prevent it from rusting anymore.
So with the rusting, you want to dig all the rust out to prevent it from like digging in there. I'm asking because I'm getting genuinely concerned now about my Gator gun.
Yeah, so you're not going to get rid of the best thing to do if you start noticing your gun rusting, get it fixed as quick as possible, because once it starts rusting, it's going to rust very quickly. And just imagine a metal chair that sat outside. It doesn't take long for it to start rusting.
Right.
And the pitting is from how long it's been rusting. So it keeps going deeper and deeper into the metal. And I guess basically disintegrating the metal, if that's the right word to use.
Yeah, breaking it down.
Yeah, so quicker the better to get it fixed. That way you don't have those pitting. But you'll never be able to get rid of that.
Yeah.
But at least you'll be able to prevent it from doing it anymore.
It's hard with all that water on the boat,
right,
keeping it clean all the way.
Well, that's what gun coat is supposed to be good for. Cerakote is supposed to...
I need to get you to dip that gun or Cerakote.
Yeah. So what I've been told, I'm still learning about the differences. There's pros and cons to Cerakote and gun coat. And so gun coat is UV protected, and Cerakote is supposed to be... They're not supposed to unless you get a certain series of Cerakote. But I like gun coat because it's smoother and it's not as rough feeling.
That's what I'll need for UV anyway.
I just like it. Cerakote's a little bit more rougher texture to me, in my opinion. But yeah, bring your gun in, and if anybody else needs their gun in, or they just want to buy some guns, support a local girl, then contact us at Ivana Williams Armory. And I'm thinking about changing the name.
Are you?
Yeah.
Why?
So the reason why I went with Ivana Williams Armory is because I had a marketing guy tell me, he said, if you have any future plans, which I actually would love to run for some type of political office one day. And I don't know if you should say that on air or not, but I don't have a problem with just telling people what I feel like doing, because it goes back to what we were talking about, how, my plans are different than God's plans, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a plan to do that, but that might not be God's plans, So I'm not shy to say what I want to do. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It wasn't meant to be.
And shoot for the moon.
Right. So I was told, if you want to do anything in the future, then go ahead and put your business as your name, because that way you're marketing yourself instead of a product. So, like, I used to have a little company called Be Epic Gorgeous, BEG. And the reason I had that is I originally wanted a bridal store named Akira's. That's my daughter's name. And she's super girly. She does love catching frogs and crickets and doing everything the boys do, but she's very girly. She loves makeup and jewelry and her hair being done and all that. So I wanted a bridal or pageant dress store and named it Akira's. And the slogan was going to be Beauty, Elegance, Grace, BEG. And that came from my like favorite movie, Miss Congeniality. You know, the guy was on the stage and he was saying, she's beauty, elegance, grace. And so that's what I wanted.
I love that movie.
I know, that's my favorite movie.
That's got to be your favorite movie.
Well, it's an FBI person,
I
you know?
love it.
And she's just, you know, doesn't realize how pretty she is and all that. I kind of feel like I'm that ugly goose, or what is it?
No, you're
Ugly
not.
duckling. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm a lot more confident now, but whenever I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that. I did not have the financial support or ability to open that store, right? So I was thinking about stuff that I was doing at home whenever I was in between working in, you know, law enforcement patrol careers. And I started doing cups. I started Cerakoting and gun coat cups, like tumblers, Yeti cups, before they started painting them. And that was a more masculine thing. So I knew beauty, elegance, grace was not going to work for what I was doing, right? So then I was like, okay, what can I do? What can be my mascot for a more masculine line, right? So then I came up with a German Shepherd because I had a German Shepherd at home, and her name was Sadie. She lived to be 15 years old. Crazy.
I had one growing up, Baron. Those are the best dogs.
I know. I've got an all black one now.
I love German Shepherds.
Her name's Nikoshi.
Nikoshi. We've got one too now, Chevy.
Yeah. I know we need to like breed them.
Well, he just got.
Okay. Well, never mind.
I know, and my oldest is like acting like I did it myself.
So I had the logo, the BG. Still couldn't really come up with what would be good for a guy's name. Could never figure it out. And so I just named the BG Be Epic Gorgeous. That is so not masculine at all. But it was more of inspirational. And it was like, always be your best. And so I just went with that. And I started doing cups and whatever else I could sell. I did monogram blankets for a while. And then slowly I got into doing guns. And I did my first gun, and people loved it, and they wanted their guns done. And then I slowly kept on going from there. So 10 years ago, when I started painting tumblers, I never would have thought I would be in the gun business, ever. And so that's, I mean, it's one of those God things, you know.
Yeah.
Here I am. I have a store, and I named it Ivana Williams Armory, and so I've been marketing myself, but I'm thinking about just calling it the Armory, and then still having that IW logo, which a lot of people can't tell it's IW, but if you look at my logo, it's an I and a W put together.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to open a place hopefully down 49, somewhere between Rankin and Simpson somewhere. And if I do that, I'm thinking about just calling it the Armory and having that IW. What do you think?
I like it. We kind of deal with the same thing with having the law firm because there's so many other law firms in competition. You know, it's like.
Yeah, that's right, because yours is Jones Law Firm.
Yeah.
Goes after your name. I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, that way you're not having, when you shake somebody's hand, you say you're Ashley Jones, or your husband, you know, says I'm Chad Jones, then they don't have to. He doesn't have to also say, oh, I own Crazy Knots Law Firm. You know, it's, oh, you
Same thing like with your
Jones Law
Armory.
Firm. Yeah.
Armory.
But and that's why I'm debating it, because I had somebody that I work with, and he told me, because I told him I was thinking about changing it just to the Armory and all that. He's like, well, you can look at it for two different ways. Yes, you do market your name, but then if, you know, you're thinking of a guy's perspective, and he's like, oh, honey, I'm going to Ivana Williams Armory versus, hey, honey, I'm going to the Armory. Which one sounds better?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just kind of the world we live in. I'm not there, you know, but that's just something you got to kind of think about. Which one's easier to say? Which one's more marketable?
I mean, but reality is we do the same thing. You know, like I don't want Chad or my husband, you know, if I'm spending a whole bunch of money on a certain gun that I can say is going to do this, this, and that and shoot from this far, then once I get it home, if I'm not doing it, then he's like, okay, what's going on? Why do we spend all this money? And it's the same thing as beauty supplies, you know, or Botox or, you know, people spending money to look so beautiful and then they come home looking the exact same. And it's just kind of like, what do you want to get in less trouble for? Do you want to have a gun at the end of the day or less wrinkles?
Yeah. I don't wear makeup that much.
You don't need it.
Well, I mean, I think me and you are the same. Like, you don't wear much makeup ever. And so
I feel silly when I have it on like a clown.
Yeah, when we went to Mistletoe, like, I loved it. It looked beautiful.
Yeah,
and
your makeup looked great.
And I have somebody, her name's Jamie Watson. She did my makeup. She's been doing it for the past couple of years, and she is fabulous at it. She does it for a living, and absolutely amazing. I just don't feel comfortable because I'm not used to it, and I just
well, it's just our professions too. You know, it's not something that's necessity. But I mean, I've got some friends that I went to high school with. One girl, her name's Tabitha, and she has always she's very gorgeous with or without makeup. She's very gorgeous, but she's really talented at what she does too.
Yeah,
it's an art.
It is. I mean, they see it just like your canvas, and they get to do what they want and what they feel like is going to look the best, and they are really good at it. I just I prefer just a little mascara, and if I could get away with not even having that, I would. But I mean, like with my job, I couldn't imagine what my bosses would think if I came to work with a full face of makeup.
Have you ever done a makeover on someone?
No.
I've done that, and that feels so much fun. I know their job has to be so much fun. You know, people that get to do it for a living.
Right. No,
just making people feel pretty.
I'm not very talented in that aspect. Like I think I always look at the good of everybody, and you know, I don't think anybody's ugly, and because I think everybody's beautiful. And I know that sounds sappy and like corny, and people are like, "Oh, whatever." But really, I don't look at that. I look at somebody's personality, and if you're kind to me, then you're beautiful.
Yeah.
If you're mean, I don't care how pretty you are, then that's where that ugly comes in. It's not.
Because looks fade so quickly.
Right. And I'm excited about getting old, and I guess that's, you know, you talk about wrinkles and stuff. I've noticed a couple more wrinkles on my face.
Well, I'm squinting all day, so
that's what I'm talking about. Well, I smile all the time. That's another thing I got kind of I'm not in trouble for, but like got on to, because in my academy I would smile about stuff you shouldn't smile about.
I have that too. It's like a nervous tick.
And they would always be, you know, say, "Williams, why are you smiling?" And
do you joke in really inappropriate times too?
Yes, it was really, really bad.
Well, I got it from my dad. We were in line behind the hearse at his brother's funeral, and he started, just to prevent from crying, he used humor. And so as a child, I grew up thinking that was normal. That's what you do. And so we at funerals sing like ba-da-dum, boom, boom. Another one bites the dust. That's terrible, I know. But it keeps me from crying, you know. Like, I listened to it the whole way to my dad's memorial. He wouldn't have had it any other way.
Yeah. So I always thought that I had like a sick sense of humor. It's a lot of, you know, and in my line of work, you kind of have to have it because of some of the stuff you see and all that. And because if you take it, I mean, it is a serious situation, but if you take it serious and you start thinking about like life and death and all that, it does start weighing on you. So just by making light of a bad situation, it makes me feel better. I don't do it in front of the people. So that, I mean, I think
maybe that's why it felt like we were long lost sisters. It's our sixth sense of humor.
Probably so. So it was, I don't know. You guys will probably see a lot of more our personalities come out, but I'm not one to joke. Like, as far as make a joke, I'm bad at jokes. Like, I try, Like even my kids, they'll try to tell me jokes and all that. And one, I don't ever get the punch line.
Everything feels like a dad joke to you.
Yes. And then if I tried to repeat it, I would just embarrass myself. So I do not joke about that. Normally I'm joking about myself, actually.
Yeah, I do
That's
that a lot.
I laugh at myself more than anything.
I do
So,
that too, because it's like if I can't laugh at, I mean, go ahead and laugh with me, because
Right.
it's not going to change. You
Yeah.
know, just like with the password deal earlier.
Oh yeah.
Like,
So we were trying to get into live, and I know that we're, I guess, still on live. Yeah. So we've actually been here 55 minutes, and I can't believe it's been
what?
that quick. It went by quick.
57?
Yeah. So, but no, we couldn't get into Facebook to do the live because Ashley didn't know her password, and I'm admin on her page, and I couldn't remember my password. So we're not really any help when it comes to that. Do not ask us. Do not call us. And what is that show called? You get a phone call.
Oh, who wants to be a millionaire?
Yeah, don't call us. We'll forget
Don't call us.
everything. But no, it's already been almost an hour, and so I am happy with how this went. I have a few texts and people that I'm probably gonna laugh at myself when I start reading them. And I know you've been getting some texts too, and we'll talk about it later on. But it's been a great episode, and we're gonna be doing this once a week, and we'll have a guest on next week. We're not sure who we'll have. So if you're interested in being a guest, then like I said, reach out to us at sippygirls.info@gmail.com or go to Sippi Girls Facebook page and contact us there, or sippygirls.org and see what we have to offer, and maybe be a member. If you think what we are doing is something you want to be a part of, well, then join us and help us out. But we appreciate you guys listening. Thanks, Ashley, for
I've had fun.
warming up with me, because it took me a while too. And I look forward to talking with you next week.
I look forward to it.
All right.
All right.
Can I have a high